Hello, my YouTube friends. My name is Adam Kahn, and this is my Dividend Retirement Journey. I could have called it Dividend Rotation as well. So, what's going on, and what are we going to talk about today? Ah! Forgive me, my brain is just going wild. I'm going to delve into the AI in the future and what I predict to come along. There's so much information out there. The stock markets are going haywire. But there's actually a lot of reasons to that, and it's not just AI, it's a whole bunch of things. Stick around, today should be a great video. Well, happy Saturday. I hope everybody's doing well. No snowboarding today. My son had a little bit of a sore throat. The lessons are over. Even though it's only 45 minutes away from the house and it creates opportunity that we can go every week, decided to take the day off, which frees up my time to chat with you guys. And what's been going on? Why am I here again after yesterday and on the weekend? Well, I've been going down this rabbit hole of AI, and do I see this destruction coming and everybody losing their jobs as robots start running the world? The flat answer is no. But why are the stock markets crumbling and getting so volatile and bouncing all around the place? I think it's a lot of factors going on. First of all, the war is impacting it. It's going to take longer than we originally thought. It's driving oil prices higher, which caused concern about inflation. We also had unemployment numbers come out, which are indicating that there's more unemployment. The Fed is in a really tough position of no win because they're watching inflation go up, so they can't really cut rates, but they're watching unemployment drift higher, so they need to cut rates. There's this AI concern of, oh my God, nobody's going to have a job, so they have to cut rates. And there's this tug of war where they're stuck in this no-win situation as a new Fed chairman is coming in. So the markets are being disrupted. There's a lot of unknown and uncertainty, which funds and investors don't like, and they get uncomfortable investing in that scenario. Do I see a huge crash? No. Do I see some things being disrupted? Yes. Is it predictable? No. There's no way to know. I mean, let's look at Adobe, for example, because it's one that I've talked about in other videos. It is possible that the narrative's correct and ChatGPT and the others come around and Adobe is no longer needed in time. At the same time, currently their earnings are crushing it. They're continuing to grow. They're adding AI to their systems. And maybe they survive and they're continued to use, and it actually becomes an unbelievable opportunity to pick up a company that people have overreacted to as it continues to thrive. There's no way to really predict which one's going to be right. I think there's a little bit of a middle ground. Even though you can't guess the winners and losers, I do not think that we're going to have huge job loss, but I think you're going to see disruption and the skill set needed for different jobs change over time. Now, that's a really weird answer. And if you have a 15-year-old kid, how do you prepare them for the future? Because that's really difficult too. Because right now, with this transition going on, I think what they're learning in school is not helpful for what they'll need on the job. I think that they're going to be required to understand AI and how to implement it. And as I've gone down this rabbit hole, it's kind of funny. I've started looking into it. I see these titles of beginner's guide to using whether it's Copilot or Claude or ChatGPT, and I delve into them. And I've been using ChatGPT more and more, and very basically, but I start to watch these videos that talk about quote unquote beginner's guide. But man, these guys are all computer tech people, and they have no idea what a beginner is, and they start using terminology that I'm uncomfortable with, and man, I sure hope I do not do that in the investment world. I hope that I just talk easily and in a way that people understand what I'm talking about. If I'm ever not, and it gets a little too complicated, by all means, put a comment in the comment section, because part of why I do these videos is I enjoy teaching. I've always found myself picking up those roles in general and volunteering. Even so, when I was a trader at the exchange, I volunteered to teach people the hand signals and the basics of understanding so that they can move up in their job. I didn't get paid for it. It's just one of those things that I've always enjoyed. Similar to these videos, I hope that I am teaching some people that maybe they're learning about. And if the vocabulary, or if I say things that are using terminologies of the finance world and somebody doesn't understand, by all means, just make a comment in the comment section and I will do my best to improve on it and explain it a little bit differently. And heck, in terms of this video, maybe that's a good opportunity. I'll put it into ChatGPT or one of the others and see if it simplifies it in a way that makes it more understandable. But these guys doing these videos on how to use AI, it's like, I don't know, I feel like I have to be a computer science graduate with a degree in coding and whatever else. What I do understand is it is a way to create what they are calling an agent, but I would think of as an assistant at work or somebody who can help you that can do tasks that would take you a lot of time otherwise. My brother played with it a bit in a half hour's time because he's been curious, and he's much better at some of the computer technology and some of the things and working through those things than I am. He put in some parameters where the AI read, what was it, something like 50 years of annual reports from 100 different companies, and then studied the commentary from the CEOs afterwards to notate whatever parameters he was putting in. Now, I don't want to give it away. I don't know that he wants me to share it. Otherwise, I'd be a little bit more specific. And to be fair, I don't want to explain it because some of it was a little above my head. Well, this is probably 1 year of work, full time, 8 hours a day, dedicated to going through these annual reports. So long as you have the wherewithal or the patience to actually read through them and look for the things that it was pulling out. So easily a year, potentially 2 years of a full-time employee getting this type of information to be able to implement it into a spreadsheet to get the information that he wanted. That all took about a minute for the AI system to generate and put into a spreadsheet for him. Now, he spent a half hour kind of putting the information in, tweaking it, changing it to be exactly what he wanted and everything else. So, is it going to replace a job? I don't think so. This isn't a job that somebody has. Is it going to make people more efficient? Yes. And is it going to change what you actually do at your work? Absolutely. Because some of the skills that were needed in the past, like, think of it like an accountant when the computer and calculator, computer, and spreadsheet came along. Do we now no longer need accountants? Yeah, we still have accountants. Why can't people do it on their own? Because the information's already there, and you can just put your stuff into a computer, and it should be able to do it. Well, I don't have a great answer, but you still do, and part of it is the judgment of the accountant. Computers don't have judgment. They can run scenarios and narrow it down to what they think is the most optimal answer, but they don't have decision-making skills. Let's talk about, I'll use a horrible example, but it'll help, I think, kind of, I don't want to say dumb it down, but it dumbed it down for me. So I will say that because I don't mean it other way than that helped me. So let's say, unfortunately, somebody is diagnosed with cancer. The computer can run the program, or let's say it's skin cancer. They can look at the diagram, see what it looks like, make a determination of is it cancer or isn't it cancer, because it's able to look at millions and millions of data that it has in the systems, where somebody who went to med school, well, they only have the ability of do as much as they've done to be able to make that determination, which is going to be a lot less examples than the computer can do. Everybody with me so far? What the computer can't do, so let's say it's awful, somebody gets the diagnosis of the cancer, they can't decide for the person the treatment to do. The person has to weigh the effects based on their own decision, their age, their active behavior. Is it worth the risk of whatever might be more dangerous to get rid of it quicker? Or am I just not super concerned because like all of these things, it can't weigh into effect judgment, thoughts, emotions, all the things that go into that decision-making process. And once the decision's made, it can outline a guide of the best way to do it, but it doesn't mean they're able to help in that decision-making process. It doesn't mean they're able to give advice. It doesn't mean they're able to do a lot of things that you're still going to need the employee for. Now, the skill set may change. You may not need the same medical degree because the computer should be able to do a lot of the things that you're trying to memorize in medical school. But what it can do, help speed the process along and everything else. So you'll see the The skill set that is needed for pretty much every job change, but that doesn't mean that the job will go away. Now, how does that correlate with the stock markets, and why are they all in shambles and going all over the place? Let's go back to Adobe. Now, as always, none of this is financial advice. Please don't listen to me. I am not a professional financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube. I do this for entertainment, and I enjoy it, and it gets my views out there. You need to do your own research. Maybe reach out to a professional financial advisor when you're making your decisions for your investments. Now, Adobe again, same exact example. Well, since the skill sets are changing, maybe you need Adobe, maybe you don't, but you shouldn't need the people with the skill set of actually doing the artwork. You would need a new skill set of making a judgment on what the best decision is when you have the items you needed. So if you're a marketing person and you're setting up a new ad campaign, you may not need the skill set of going into Adobe and actually drawing out what it is that you have in mind and presenting that to the board and whatever else. You may have pretty much no artistic capability ever, and you may not be able to go into Adobe and transform things. But you have to be able to direct and get the thing that you picture in your head out of an AI agent from one of these AI systems that might actually work inside of Adobe. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that Adobe is out of business. It could. Maybe ChatGPT or the others do it all on their own, but maybe they work in agreement with a company like Adobe because maybe they have the best platform of items to be able to pull from. So whatever you envision in your head, you have to be able to give it this AI agent the directions to be able to put onto the screen whatever it is that you're picturing in your head, or a few items, to be able to then bring it to whoever the board is and present why you think it's the best item. The skill set has gone from having the ability to draw it to being a good judgment maker of what you think is the best route to go in terms of the advertising. And even that might be used like something you can incorporate the AI to. Maybe you want to, maybe you want to aim it towards a certain demographic. You want it to go to 20 to 28-year-olds who live on the East Coast. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm just making it up. But the AI agent can also help you to narrow down the demographics you're trying to hit with that thing that you're creating. And they might even help to change the picture of the artwork or whatever else that you've created to match that demographic as well. You still need the judgment, you still need the understanding, you still need an ability to decide what makes sense for the marketing that you're doing. So there is still an employee, but the role and the skill set and the job has just changed. So I don't see this massive disruption of people being out of work. What I do see is the work scope, or the scope of the work that's needed, changing. And the new generation going up needs to be able to use their own AI agents to make them better at whatever field they are getting into. Even mine, if you're getting into mortgages and you want to do marketing or drive business or whatever it is, a person coming into the industry better be able to implement AI in a way that makes them more efficient than those of us that are old. Hello. What we do currently. And I think that's just going to transform things. Does that mean you're going to fire a bunch of people and you'll need less people? I don't think so. I think it means more efficiency in a different world. Now, some industries could get totally disrupted. Like if you are a driver of Uber, it is very easy for all of us, even those of you who are driving for Uber, to envision a scenario where that job is no longer needed. Like legitimately, as the autonomous driving is coming along, I even wonder if owning a car is going to be something that everybody does, or if it's just going to be for the wealthy who want that extravagance, or most people may have just a monthly subscription to a company like Uber or the Waymo or whatever other ones, where you have unlimited package, and maybe there's different varieties of, just a basic car, maybe even shared rides to something that's super nice and, very private and drives yourself. But it's very easy to see with autonomous driving and everything else that it could be computerized and simulated, and maybe we don't need drivers to, whether it's Uber or trucks or anything else, to be moving the population from place to place. just keep in mind, whatever it is that we envision is going to take longer than people think. It is not going to happen overnight. And even if it happened with cars, it's going to take time before it's trusted with planes. And I would think even in the beginning, because we already have autopilot and some of the other stuff, I still think you're going to have a pilot in the cockpit in case something goes wrong for a very long time. And then it's going to take an even longer time before it works with ships. And especially as you go into these different countries, having different places, handling these different modes of transportation, they would all have to be on similar platforms to work in what's the word I'm looking for? Like in unity, so that you don't have problems. You can't have China working on one system and the US working in another without a potential for problems. You have to have some sort of agreement where everybody's using the same system. It's also like as we transform to electric power, I don't picture those big boats that are going across the intercontinental just immediately changing from fuel to being electric. It's not realistic. So I think oil will be needed for a long time. But that's why you're seeing so much volatility in the markets and so much disruption. It is very hard for us to predict how things are going to change and what's going to change. My guess is the companies that already do well will be the ones best in line to be able to transition towards whatever the future brings. It's really interesting seeing what warehouses are already looking at Amazon. Do I think that means there'll be no more jobs? No, but I think the warehouse workers, the skill set may be more like what it takes to run Farmville on a computer. Like you might need people who are good at video games, who know how to maneuver the different robots running around a warehouse, and less actual people in there. I envision similar for farm. Like it would make sense that Farmville and that the machines could run around. And not only that, they could work 24/7. So you might need 3 8-hour employees to take different shifts to be able to run the program to make sure things are operating smoothly. But you won't need people in the machines. You'll need somebody on a computer actually designating what they can do and managing more. Like they'll be much more efficient, because instead of needing, let's say you have 10 tractors, eating up the hay field. I don't know. Like I'm not a farmer. But if you need 10 tractors and you needed 10 people in there, maybe one person can control all 10 tractors and let them run more efficiently, so that then they can be used on another farm where somebody else might need them, or whatever it is to make it all more efficient. And you've narrowed down from 10 employees who could only work 8 hours to 3 employees working 24 hours. Or maybe there needs to be a break to charge the machines, of whatever it is. And not only that, the machines will be able to know when something's going wrong with it to let the mechanic know. Now, I don't picture every job being a robot where no human is needed to replace a lug nut on something or whatever's needed. Now, maybe it gets there. I mean, look at how much we've changed in the auto industry from humans to machines that help build the cars, and maybe that just gets better and better. But as we've done that in the auto world, it doesn't mean there are no jobs. The jobs have just changed there as well. This makes me think this correction is really good opportunity. Uh, Eventually, the war will end, right? We can all agree to that. Maybe America wins, maybe America loses, but at some point, the war will be over, and that nervousness will be out of the market. Maybe oil will be at $300 a barrel. Maybe it'll be at 50 cents. Obviously, I don't think either of those. But wherever it'll be, will be where it'll be. I say to my friend who always makes fun of me, markets are markets. And also understand markets are never wrong. Markets are just a scenario of where people are willing to buy versus where people are willing to sell. They move and they might change, and you can make your best prediction of where you think that will go. But the market is not wrong. The market is where it is. It's why I talk about the housing market. There is a reason prices are what they are today. Maybe we have a big crash. Maybe the doom and gloomers are right. Maybe we don't. But the market is correct for today. And wherever it is tomorrow is correct for where it is tomorrow. Anyway, little off topic. But my point is, I think it's a really good opportunity because with all of this craziness of what's going to happen with AI and the market's collapsing because of that, and the market's going lower because oil prices are going higher, and the war, earnings are what drive markets in the long run. And it's hard for me to envision what is going to change Facebook's earnings because of the things that are in the news currently. So while the stock gets beat up and creates opportunity to buy it at a cheaper level, I'm guessing they still have 3 billion daily users on their platforms. I'm guessing they're still able to sell their advertising. I'm guessing they're continuing to spend a lot of money on capital expenditures that the markets don't like because they don't see an end game. And to be fair, maybe they overspend and maybe it's too early because it will take longer than what people think. But in the end, I think we're going to need those data centers. And I think these things are here to stay. And I think it's going to transform how people do their job. Interestingly, I think education is somewhere that they haven't really implemented these systems that could be one of the ones that if somebody took the time to take AI and maybe transform what education is, it could be a huge game changer. Like the education system kind of moves really slowly and tends not to change. It's just like any government entity. And I kind of wonder if there could be like the AI university. And that doesn't necessarily mean teaching AI. But why wouldn't you take one university and take a full year of classes, record them, and allow them to be done remotely or inline or however you do it so that people could go to those classes and it's already set up for a full year. So you attend the classes whenever it's your time that you can. You can do it even faster if it's something that you're really passionate about. And if there's a project or an assignment due, you do the assignment and you upload it into AI. Whoa! That could actually then grade it, give you reports, tell you what you've done wrong. Because the important thing to understand about as we go forward, it's not going to matter so much if you get an A. It's going to matter if you actually understand what you're learning. Now, there's a brilliant concept because what blows my mind in terms of education is they get so caught up in getting an A, whether they understand the material or not, versus actually understanding the things they're learning about and finding a passion for the things they like so they learn it and understand it. As the future moves on and AI becomes a bigger part of society, I think it's going to matter more about actual capability and somebody's understanding of the things they're going into versus did they get an A and did they do really well on the SAT or ACT. At least my thought. So anyway, I envision an ability if somebody took the time, which I like to dream up these things, but I actually don't follow through with them. It's just my own weakness. I'll tell you my Tesla one too in a little bit. But where they drove one that actually could be run from AI and then thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people could go to this university or education place and be able to get great professors that they are able to just go and watch the classroom scenario whenever it makes sense to them. And some people would take longer and some people would move faster. And I really think that the systems could correct the papers. You don't need to have somebody there worrying about going through and paying attention to actually grade the tests or get back to the people to let them know what they understood, what they didn't understand. And I bet AI could kind of figure out from the lesson plan what somebody understood or didn't understand as opposed to giving an actual grade. Like they could be able to tell from the questions they got wrong or right what they actually had an understanding of and be able to go from there. Like that's where my head is. So what was my idea for Tesla? Well, I think about what Apple did with the iPad and everything else, getting into classrooms and getting people used to using their platform for years, which is why everybody, at least from my understanding, loves iPhones and Apple products. Well, I feel like if Tesla could come up with a program to get into high schools where students are getting their driver's license, although, like I said, maybe it's just a monthly subscription with a company like Uber, but for now, and offer a discounted rate as long as they're using their automated driving, their autonomous driving, let's say a minimum of 80% of the time. That they could get a car that's on a lease for maybe 3 years, get them into a Model 3 at a really discounted price, especially if they're using the automated driving, and then they would get discounted insurance as well. So you could get young people into a car that they're driving safely because they're using the autonomous driving. So you're more comfortable that they're going to be less accidents. And then I even think, get this one, that if they are a straight A student, it's discounted a little extra. And the reason for that is it's encouraging people to do well in school. But I'd also bet that people who are straight A students, and I have not done the analysis, but I would guess that they are safer drivers. So it should discount it also. But then you get tons of drivers into the vehicles, used to the autonomous driving and on the roads, and maybe they continue to buy that product down the line. Either way, I thought it was a good marketing plan. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comment section. Don't forget, as always, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, I do my live. I would love if some of you could make it there. I really enjoy the platform. I like that in the middle of my talking, you can ask me about a stock you've been looking at. You can tell me about your financial journey and the things you're doing while you're moving along. For now, there are few enough people that I just kind of get on there and blab away. And then when questions come up, I kind of answer. What's nice about that is I have the time to answer everybody's questions. So anybody who has one, it's a really good platform. But I also like the interaction. Anyway, as always, well, I guess I don't mean it. Like, I was about to say, out of old habit, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, make some comments in the comment section. But I got to tell you, part of the reason I changed to the new channel is if you don't want to hit the buttons, it's okay. Like, it doesn't matter either way. I really hope you come because you find some value in what I talk about. If you've made it this far, I would bet money you enjoy it, whether it's just hearing it in the background or whatever it is. So it's all good. I really do this for my own purposes, and I like the community, and it gives me people to chat with, and I don't know, I like that stuff. Anyway, have a great weekend. I don't think I'll have time to do another one tomorrow, but I will talk to you probably Monday and for sure on Tuesday. Have a great day now. Bye-bye.